A clear headlight. That not only illuminates your way down the road, but it's a piece of safety equipment. That's what we're looking here for today. But I want to show you that I've got another one here, not quite in the same condition. Yeah, this is my 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee. The headlight is gone sour. So today I'm going to demonstrate Meguier's headlight restoration kit. Comes pre-packaged, has all the tools you'll need. I'm going to show you exactly what needs to be done and what it takes to get your headlight back in right shape. Yeah, so Meguier's comes with everything you need in the box. Has a microfiber cloth. Instructions on how to get it done. Sanding discs. It's got a sanding holder, a hand sanding holder, and some buffing and some polishing compounds. What you'll need is a good stool. Get you right at the level of the headlight. You'll need a bucket of water, and you'll also need one of these. It's called a variable speed drill. Variable speed is very important. Get your tools ready and let's get started. First thing you do is find the P1000 grit sanding disc. They're provided with a kit. Take your sanding holder, your sanding block. It's got Velcro on the back, so go ahead and just attach it to the back of the disc. You're ready to go. Now go ahead and take your sanding disc and dip it in water. You have to have your sanding disc wet, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then what you want to do is begin using the 1000 sanding disc horizontally across the light fixture. Stay horizontal. I'll explain that in a minute as well. You're going to begin to rub, polish. What you're doing is you're sanding the front of the headlight with the sanding disc. And you're using very modest pressure. You don't have to, doesn't take a lot of hand pressure. Let the sandpaper, let the 1000 grit sandpaper do the work. Now as you move the sandpaper across the headlamp, it's going to make a little foam. It's going to sort of look like soap. What that is that's the oxidation and the plastic that's being removed from the headlamp. But that's okay. That's evidence that the sandpaper is working. Now the water is actually what it's doing is it's lubricating the sanding so that your sandpaper doesn't get worn out too quickly, and it helps make the sanding go evenly across all the light fixture. Depending on how much oxidation and age is on these plastic headlamps depends on how much time you have to spend with the 1000 grit sandpaper. The 1000 number is the coarsest number that they give you. The higher the number, the finer the sandpaper. So this is going to take a few minutes. Now depending on the climate or how dry your area is, depends on how fast the water will actually dry out. But what I like to do is I like to rinse my sandpaper off more frequently. I don't let the headlamp dry out because I rinse it off, and that removes the particles that the sandpaper is actually removing. So it kind of rinses off the sandpaper. Now if you'll notice, I'm also sanding at the same time the turn signal, the yellow or the amber turn signal glass, as well as the headlamp. And I'm moving the sandpaper around. In other words, I'm not staying in one place. I'm moving it around. And that way it makes sure it doesn't scratch one area of the lens at a time. Just keep moving it around as you go. And don't forget, rinse your sandpaper often. Very important. Otherwise, you'll wear out your sandpaper before you're finished the project. Now, in the instructions, they recommend considering masking off the rest of the car, masking off the paint. What you do is you use regular painter's tape to mask off so that you don't actually sand the paint finish or the chrome finish. Now in my particular case, in this lamp, that's not necessary because the headlamp is definitely separated from the chrome and the paint, and I can pretty much control what I'm doing. But use your own judgment on your fixture. Now continue your sanding, continue your buffing in a horizontal direction. Stay horizontal. Now that's important because we're using the 1000 grit sandpaper. When we change to the 3000 sandpaper, we're going to sand in the other direction. And the way that you'll know that you're done is when you change, you'll be able to see the horizontal lines with the 1000, but when you change to the 3000, you're going to change directions and sand up and down, and you'll be able to see your progress as you move across the lamp. So stay horizontal with this one movement here. Stay going horizontal on the lamp. Now as you go, using more water and more elbow grease, you'll begin to see in the lamp the results of your work. But you can't really see what's going on until you dry the headlamp off. So get a hold of your microfiber cloth and do a quick swipe of your headlamp to dry it off. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you'll see that your headlamp has taken on a fog. You see the fog? And that's the results of the 1000 grit sandpaper. And you'll begin to see also now with your eyeball the different places here which require some extra work. You've kind of exposed the areas which are a little higher in oxidation and wear and tear on the headlamp. You can see where you need to put some more elbow grease. Now it's going to take a few minutes, going to take some patience, but the result is going to be good. So let's keep up the good work. Now folks, there's just, I don't know how to say this more clear, but there's no way to hurry this project. What you have to do is take your time on the headlamp, put your elbow grease into the spots that you need to do, and the end result will actually pay off if you put the patience in. So I got myself sitting on a good stool. I got a 3-point posture with my legs. I got firm, not hard, but firm pressure on the sandpaper. And I'm going to finish this up right now. So let's get busy. So as you can tell, this is sort of a labor of love. You've got to love your car, you got to love your headlamps, you got to love the safety of a good functioning bright headlamp to make this pay off. Now, a new headlamp, one of these new headlamps costs about $175, and so minus the price of Meguier's kit, this will be the easiest way to save about $150 as you can imagine. and it helps if the person you're doing this for will appreciate your work. Almost done. Okay, here we go. We got all the your water's turned white from the sanded plastic, rinsing off the sanded plastic. So I'm going to remove the old sanding disc, the 1000 sanding disc. And now we're going to attach the P3000 sanding disc to our sanding block. Moisten it down with water. And now we're going to begin to sand with the 3000 grit in a vertical direction, or up and down. We used a 1000 grit and sanded horizontally, and now we're just going to go up and down with the 3000. And you'll see, you can't really see it from the camera, but with the naked eye, you can look closely at the headlamp and see the horizontal grooves that you made. You can see the horizontal texture to the headlamp. And now when you're using the 3000 going up and down, you'll be able to see that you're actually removing the horizontal grooves in the headlamp and replacing them with vertical grooves. But this sandpaper is finer. This is 3000 grit sandpaper, and so the vertical grooves will be much finer, but you'll be able to see it. And using the 3000 takes much less time than using the 1000. This is more like knocking down the 1000 grit grooves. So this will take a few minutes, up and down on the lamp. Alright, well, I've used the P3000 sand grit on about half the headlamp, and I'm going to just dry it down here. Yeah, and if you look close, right down in here, what you can see, I can still see the horizontal lines over here, but all the horizontal lines have gone away. I've sanded them down over here. So that's what you want to do with the P3000, is you want to go up and down, go vertical until the horizontal lines or grooves have disappeared. Almost done. Let's get this done. Alright, there you have it. And so what we've done is we've used the 1000 grit sandpaper, and we used the 3000 grit sandpaper vertically. And now we have kind of a uniform gray, fuzzy, foggy haze on the lens. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use our variable speed drill and the buffer that comes with the Meguier's kit. Insert it on the drill, chuck it down, and then we're going to use some of the Plast X polishing kit that comes with Meguier. We're going to put about a nickel size dollop of Plast X on the buffer. And then we're going to buff the lens. Now the instructions say don't let the buffing compound get dry. If it gets dry, the buffing pad will begin to scratch the lens. So after, when it gets nearly dry, go ahead and remove it with your microfiber cloth. You can already see the lens is coming into top tip condition. Yeah, and what you can do is put a little of the rubbing compound on the microcloth and just polish up the areas that you can't get with the variable speed drill, like I'm doing down here on the turn signal lens. There you go. We're almost done. Okay, now the Meguier's kit comes with a headlight protectant. That's the last step. What it does is after you've put all the elbow grease into the headlamp, if you put this protectant on, that'll help preserve the hard work that you've already done. Now here I use a terry cloth instead of the microfiber. Put a little down on the terry cloth, and then I'm just going to go ahead and apply that to the lens. Go ahead, wax on and wax off, as they say. There you have it. That's the finished lens. Clear, ready to do the work. Well, I hope you enjoyed my how-to video. I got no stock in Meguiar's, but I like the product. It seemed to have done the trick. And my 10-year-old Jeep Cherokee is back to 100% visibility. Rob Dozier here. Good luck. I hope it works for you too.